Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our Quick Bites series. My name is Mike Barbado. I'm Distributor Solutions Manager over here at Meal Ticket. And today I'm going to take you to a quick 20-minute overview of our trade show platform. So if you host physical or virtual trade shows, this one is just right for you. I'm super excited to show you what we can do and how we've helped over 100 partners deliver successful trade shows and simplify the way they plan and execute those events. Now, before we jump in, just a quick little bit about me. I've been with Meal Ticket just under a year. I've been working in the food and beverage space for just over a decade, working at organizations like PepsiCo and Red Bull, always in distribution. Love going to events, have seen hundreds of trade shows over time, have seen Meal Ticket software in action myself from a vendor perspective, and I can tell you firsthand, it was super valuable for me, super valuable for my sales team, and gave us quick, actionable items coming right out of that show. So for you as a distributor, we're going to go over some of the tremendous value this can deliver for you today. And I'm super excited. Please, as Justin, our host, mentioned earlier, we're going to have a quick slot towards the end here for some Q&A. So you can go ahead and type this in the chat as we go, but don't worry, stick around. We're going to go ahead and address any questions you might have. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. In just a second. All right, let me pull this over. All righty, folks. So let's go ahead and start here. First things first, hopefully you're familiar with us at Meal Ticket, but we have designed and developed an ecosystem to help you solve various use cases. I know Justin covered a little bit about that earlier, but I want to show you just how interconnected our platforms are. Today we're going to go over trade shows, you all know, but just know that we can quickly pivot back and forth between our CRM platform and our trade show tool at any given time. And this is really going to be valuable if you're looking for kind of a multiple use case scenario. These tools work together in tandem. So we're not going to cover too much of that today. If you're interested to learn more, please reach out, and love to share that with you. But let's go ahead and get started. I told you earlier and mentioned that our platform is designed to help you not only plan, execute, and have a great successful food show for both you, your vendors, and your operators, most importantly, but it is also going to help you plan any virtual events you might have, right? So whether that's a virtual buying extension period, whether you're doing a virtual customer appreciation event, right? These are all different things that you can do right inside the platform. So let's kind of jump right into this. I am currently logged in, and of course, folks, this is demo data, so bear with us. You're going to see a few funny things in here. But I am logged in as a distributor admin, okay? And we're going to obviously have different levels of user access. So if you're a sales rep, you're going to see a little bit differently. If you're a district sales manager or director of sales, you're going to have a little bit of a different view. We also uniquely give your vendors access to the portal. Now they're going to have a little more of a limited view. I'll look to show you a little bit of that later today. But as I mentioned earlier, that was a big value to me as a vendor when I was using the Meal Ticket platform over the years. So let's jump right into this. First things first, we're always going to see over here our widgets on the left-hand side. We are looking at a demo event. One thing I just want to quickly call out is that you can at any time look at any expired events or past events right inside the platform. We are going to have a repository for you. As long as you're a partner for us, have access to the software, you're going to be able to go back and look at performance of prior events, right? So this is going to be really important. For example, say, hey, I want to measure ROI from each event year over year. I want to set goals on how to improve. We're going to make sure that you have quick, easy access to what prior events delivered. That way you can set more aggressive targets as you move forward, right? Even things like allowances. So just real quick on that one, wanted to call that out. Let's go ahead and click into this. Yes, we're going to help you through the onboarding every step of the way. You'll be assigned a dedicated specialist to help you plan with the training, all the onboarding stuff. We're very proud of what we do. We call it white glove service. But let's go ahead and take a peek here. We are looking at the demo event. Notice that you can white label the top up here. You're going to be able to do things like add visuals, map views, any details you want to include, like lodging, instructions for your vendors. Maybe you want to showcase particular vendors, right? Or maybe you want to just add information on the electrical and things like that. We're going to help you go ahead and customize that on how you want it to be viewed. and that'll be right here living in the platform, okay? So just a real quick snapshot of what that looks like. Of course, vendors are going to have a little bit of more detailed information here. This is also customizable, but this is going to be an area where you can add any additional details that are very specific to your vendors, okay? And we'll kind of show you how all of this comes to life as we get into the process of invitations and leading up to show day, all the things that you want to make sure happen and work smoothly for you. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to start this from the standpoint of a pre-show planning perspective. We're going to go through kind of 3 quick phases today, but let's live and think right now in that pre-show. We're planning, we're getting things ahead. So we've created the event along with the support of our meal ticket staff. How great they are, yes. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start assigning booths and managing those booths. Okay, so as you can see here, it's going to give me a listing of every single booth. Maybe I've determined them as featured. I've worked them into my marketing plan. I can go ahead and add booths here at any given time. Our team will also mass upload this information if you have it before you actually go through this process too. So just something to keep in mind, okay? Now, as we're leading up to the show, there's a few things that typically come up. And the first is, how do we make sure we get the right attendees to that show? Okay, so one thing to call out here, I mentioned earlier, we have a connection right here with our CRM platform. And one thing that's great about utilizing both platforms together, right, and there's a few benefits, but I'll call one of them out, is if you're using our CRM solution, you're going to be tracking and have the information you need for all of your existing customers, and hopefully as well as your prospects. All of that information is actually going to flow organically directly into the trade show platform. So when we think about the right customers to invite, making sure we have up-to-date emails and things like that, that information is going to be readily available to you if you have CRM platform. And we're going to give you the quick, hey, let's go check out who is showing up in our customer database. And let's find out who does not have emails assigned, right? Maybe there's some work to do from a sales rep perspective. But let's go ahead and check in this scenario who has been invited. So I'm just going to quickly scroll down here. You can see if I kind of click these open, I can resend invites as much as I'd like. Anyone that has not been invited is going to go ahead and have this checkbox here. I can actually determine who I would like to invite specifically. If I click that checkbox, all 3 will be included. If I go onesie twosie, I can go ahead and do that and resend as much as I'd like. So what we're doing here is we're sending a virtual electronic invitation, and I actually want to show you what that looks like. Okay, and this is going to go directly to your operators. Let's go ahead and pull that up, give you perspective. Keep in mind, this is typically going to come right in the email. I just had this saved as a PDF for simplicity's sake. But this is what your operators are going to see when you send that out. It's just going to be a quick snapshot of kind of the information you build around the show, right? What we really want those operators to do is click that RSVP button. What that's going to do is 2 things for you leading up to the show. It's going to tell you who has formally committed saying, hey, we plan on showing up. But importantly, they're going to get an email kicked back with a barcode and a QR code for them. They can go ahead and use that to speed up that check-in line on the day of the show, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to track who has RSVP'd. We're also going to give them those QR codes so they can quickly get through that check-in line on the day of the show. And yes, there is reporting. We'll get to that in just a little bit to understand who has RSVP'd, okay? Same scenario with prospects. I can go ahead and do the same thing. You can see a few different filter options. We want your sales reps, your distributor sales reps to contribute in this process. If they're out in the field, if they're having discussions with their operators, they can go ahead and invite them directly on the spot and add contacts that they do not exist, okay? One thing that is super, super cool about this is if the operators are not comfortable confirming who has RSVP'd specifically by name, they can just RSVP on behalf of the account. So that's what we call anonymous RSVPs. So that's the pre-registration process. Pretty cool stuff. We want to make sure that we're getting ahead to really help you get an understanding of how many folks that are planning on committing and speeding up that check-in line at the end of the day. Now, another aspect and element of this show is particularly, obviously, if you're having a buy-in show, is allowances, right? We know that if we can streamline that process and help you get that out of the weeds as it relates to allowance negotiations with your vendors, we're going to clear up some time for you to do some more important things, right? So one thing really cool about our platform is that we've created what we call an allowance negotiation module, lives directly inside of the meal ticket platform. And what we can do with this is we can assign these worksheets. If you have multiple buyers, for example, we can assign worksheets to each buyer based off the vendors that they are responsible for. So in this scenario, what I'm seeing here as a distributor admin, I'm seeing every single worksheet where we have started what we call an allowance negotiation worksheet, okay? And we're gonna have different statuses here. You can kind of get the gist on what these mean, but what I want you to take away today is that we are gonna allow you as the distributor to start the negotiation process all within MealTicket platform. It's gonna kick that directly to the vendors. The vendors are going to bounce that back and forth with you as many times as you need to align on, hey, these are the allowances we both agreed upon. But you as a distributor will have final say. Okay. What I really like about this is, yes, let's take away all the emails back and forth. Let's let it live in the platform. But more importantly, let's understand what the transactional history is between our negotiations, right? Let's record that, document it. That way we can maximize those allowances, number one. More importantly, for the future, have something to look back on. Right, and with all the things going on, it's really important that we do our best to maximize those commitments from our vendor network. So I'm just going to give you a quick example here today. This current worksheet, this is for our manufacturer Ajinomoto, and I have the opportunity to export this worksheet as an Excel or PDF. But right now, I want to go ahead and edit this worksheet. Okay, and what I can see here is that my highest allowance is going to be here on these mozzarella sticks. And I have $8. That is super awesome. But I'm missing some allowances on some of these SKUs, right? So if I want to go ahead and say, hey, Mr. Vendor, I actually want $2. I've used my Insights platform to understand that our pot stickers are a high margin item, high velocity item. We need some allowances on this for the show. I'm going to go ahead and kind of submit that there. And I'm going to go ahead and hit that save button and kick that right back to our vendor, okay? I can also look through this and I can see all the historical transactions that might have happened under this history tab, right? So this one is a bad example. Let's take a peek at this one here. You can see how much back and forth has occurred in this particular scenario by working with this vendor, right? And keep in mind, this is demo data, folks, but the story I want you to have here is you see the starting point at 0, you see where we've landed, you know you've done a good job from a negotiation perspective and landed on finalizing those allowances. So let's go ahead and discard these changes. Once you finalize that worksheet, it is going to make its way into the show book. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and click into all of these here for you on the left-hand side, but one that I want to call out specifically because I've heard challenges from this and opportunities to improve the process from several distributors is if there are any innovation SKUs that your vendor has decided they want to add, right? Maybe they've received the worksheet invitation, they've logged in, they said, hey, I like everything you sent, but I want to showcase some innovation. Okay, this isn't an item that's stocked on the distributor's warehouse floor. They go ahead and add it. It kicks back to you. You are going to get alerted here. It's going to live under manage missing SKUs, and anything that is innovation, meaning not stocked, or any situation where it's not stocked on your floor, it will not make its way into that show book until you as a distributor finalize and create a distributor SKU. So we want to add a layer of protection for you as a distributor before these things make their way into the show book. Okay. Now, we're still in pre-show phase. You've done a great job. You've streamlined the way you negotiate allowances. And little trick of the trade here, folks, for all of you, we always encourage you to think bigger outside of trade show. If you're doing spiffs, promotions, coupons, flyers with your manufacturers, say you're running a monthly promotion, you can use the allowance negotiation tool to negotiate those allowances, right? Even your annual marketing agreements. So we have a few customers doing that. We're really scaling this process. We're excited to bring you more value beyond just trade show. Let's show you one more really, really cool thing that I love in this platform. We are in the pre-show phase. I am distributor sales rep John, I should say Mike, I guess. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take a peek at my account. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. I am logged in. And I'm looking at, from a data-driven perspective, on what this customer is buying and what they're not buying. As a matter of fact, let me redo this for just a second, folks. I'm going to click back in. So here's what I really wanted to show you. Let me actually minimize this kebab over here on the left-hand side. I am a sales rep. This is before the show. I know I have had discussions with 20 of my top operators. I've invited them. They've RSVP'd. Now, I want to make sure that we are doing the best thing we can to target and suggest the right items for potential bookings when that show day comes. I want to make sure that those vendors and myself are talking about the right SKUs. So here at Meal Ticket, we believe in the power of technology. We have created an AI algorithm, and it's going to take a peek at all the products in the show book. It's going to look at like customers based off segment, the products that like customers typically have on their menus and sell and purchase. And we are going to actually, AI is going to help us. It's going to say, hey, this customer is not purchasing this beef topping currently. We want you to recommend that item. And me as the sales rep, I'm the only person who's going to see these recommended items. This is an indicator to me to help me and say, hey, do I want this item to be targeted on the day of the show? Excuse me. And I'm going to go ahead and click that little star button here. And this will make a little more sense, folks, when we show you what these targeted options do. But you can see here, AI is recommending about 8 products here, and I've gone ahead and targeted all of these. Now, AI is just your friend. It's trying to help you. You can target any items you like. Maybe you're focused on a very specific SKU across the board of your distribution center. Go ahead and work and target those items across the board within these items. So real quick, this is really cool stuff. It's going to come to life on show day, but I wanted to show you that. All right. We have negotiated allowances. We have sent invitations out. Our vendors have been invited to participate in the platform. They will receive a similar email to what you saw that the operators received. Our vendors have logged in. We are ready to rock for show day. Meal Ticket has sent on-site support staff to help you set up the check-in stations the day before the show. Train your vendors to make sure they're utilizing the iPads that we provide correctly. And we want to make sure that we are there on site to support you and have a successful event, right? So let's get to it. We are show day. I am a vendor. I am manning my booth, okay? Folks are starting to check in. That line's going pretty speedy. A lot of the folks have QR codes. They're getting their badges quick. Love to see it. But I'm a vendor. Everything's going to live within the tools platform during the day of the show. Okay, I should say the tools module here on the left-hand side. Now, with my iPad, of course, I'm probably just going to take that camera icon there, and I'm going to scan that badge right in front of me when an operator walks up. But because we're on my desktop today, let's go ahead and just search a customer. I'm going to go ahead and look at Abby's again. We're going to pick on that because I want to show you those targeted items and how they come to life. But here we go. I am the vendor, and it's going to give me some quick details about the account. As you know, if you've ever hosted a booth in the chaos, you may not be aware as a vendor that one of your largest purchasing operators through the distributor has just walked up to your booth, let alone understand what they're buying, what they're not buying, things like that. So here at Meal Ticket, we believe in the power of data. We want to make that really easy for you, right? So I have scanned, Abby's has popped up. I've recognized that, Brad Brother is now at my booth. I see that he's the GM. He's likely the decision maker. Because I scanned his badge, he's went ahead and checked in automatically. Now, I mentioned real quick earlier, we have on-site support staff. If your vendors need help, they should just click this button. We'll pop right over to that booth. But this is going to tell me a few things right off the bat, okay? Importantly, I'm a vendor. I have items on display. It's going to say, hey, wow, this is a totally net new opportunity for me. They haven't purchased anything in the last 90 days. So right off the bat, I know this is an important conversation. And from a perspective of what they're not buying, that's on the show book floor, here it is, right? And this is where that targeted items come to life. We know that the distributor sales rep has targeted this item. This is a critical item. I should be talking about this item during the event and making the most of my time, right? So right then and there, this is where those targeted items come to life. Now, of course, I can do things like I can like these items. If we're doing bookings at the show, I can click in quantities here. I even have the opportunity to prorate those over weeks, depending on the ship weeks that the distributor has aligned on. I can request samples for these items directly in the platform. Maybe you guys are the distributor, or you are allowing bonus bucks, and you say, hey, there's typically $1 allowance. I'm a vendor. I want to add $1 more. And this is going to say, hey, okay, are you sure you're allowed to do that from a vendor perspective? Boom, let's go ahead and do it, right? And lastly, if I want to add notes at the line item level, I'm going to have the opportunity to do so. Now, here at the top, in my experience, I did add notes at times at the line item, but most of the time, I'm going to go ahead and add notes right at the account level, right? And all of this is going to come to life and help me and my sales activity post-show be actionable, right? So this is why this is really important. If nothing else, we want to make sure that all the vendors are checking folks in. They are, hopefully liking items and hopefully getting bookings, but at bare minimum, making sure the check-ins happen so we know who showed up at booths. Now, another quick pro tip, always suggests that you find a way to incentivize vendors, right? The more that these folks use the technology, the better data and action items and ROI visuals you're going to get post-show, okay? So we've recommended to folks that, hey, whoever gets the most check-ins, for example, gets X, right? Maybe it's a cooler that you're awarding to your vendors, things like that. But really fun, cool way to kind of incentivize the audience to use the technology. So a few other things you can do in here. I'm not gonna go ahead in the weeds on that. Know that we have the capability to manage chains from the parent account relationship, and of course, if there's last minute changes to show book or innovation items or folks checking in, our team is there to support you the day of the show to make sure those processes happen quickly and efficiently. All right, we got through show day, right? It was a great event. Now let's go ahead and see what's going on here. We're going to give you some reports, right? And we're going to also give this to the vendors. Hopefully we have a minute here to show you that at the end. But what I would like to show you today is just a few. You can see kind of these are pretty straightforward, right? I'll click into some of the ones that I really enjoy the most, but you can see what we're going to give you from a distributor perspective access to, right? And of course, after the show, this is going to be something that you can log in for the entirety of your partnership to take a peek at this information. But really quick, I like this booth activity report. This is one that I will look at after the show, but in all transparency, I'm likely going to be looking at this during the show, right, as well. Our team, our on-site support staff, is also going to be taking a peek at this, and this is going to give me a quick indicator of which vendors are participating. So not to pick on Fontanini here, but I take a look at this line item and I see there's minimal participation, right? So it's going to be a prompt to me and our meal ticket support staff to go and say, hey, how can we help you, right? We want to make sure that the platform is being utilized and there's no confusion on how to do so. It's a really quick, cool report. Another one here is just a very high-level snapshot of our overview report. It's going to give you a quick overview on how things are performing. This is a great one if you're just going to look at year-over-year or event-over-event performance overall. Outside of that, right, it's really important that, you can look at likes, check-ins, things like that. But one that's really important, right, and obviously you're probably going to look at for a really quick way to define ROI, is just really what's been booked at the show versus what's actually been shipped. And I can filter that in a few different ways, at DSM level, at the DSR level, and I can export any of these reports into Excel or CSV format. So just a simple way to say, hey, was all the effort we put into this really worth the squeeze, right? Depending on the metrics you're looking from a performance perspective at the end of the show. So that's a super quick overview of our trade show platform. The last thing I want to show everybody here today is just really quick, what does the platform look like from a vendor perspective? So let me do this. I'm gonna go ahead and log in here, and I'm gonna give you a quick peek of what that actually looks like, okay? So if you remember earlier, I had said that your vendors are going to be invited to participate in the platform before the show from an allowance negotiation perspective. They're also going to have capability to do things like add visuals and images and videos under the booth setup process, right? So to help kind of clarify some of that, it's going to show up on the show day of the show, right? Or any virtual event from an operator lens on what you see. But let's kind of take a peek at some of the cool things that's here for them. Obviously, reporting is pretty critical, right? And I told you I worked for manufacturers for nearly a decade. I can't tell you how many shows I would take notes, come out of the show and be like, wow, I was writing so fast I can only read 30% of these. Next thing you know, we kind of spun our wheels and we weren't maximizing our time together. This is why we loved using the meal ticket platform. It's going to tell me what's going on here, right? And this is in real time, folks. So first and foremost, I can see what's been booked, right? But I'm going to go ahead and probably pull the reports on check-ins, likes, notes, things like that. Let me just give you a quick snapshot of, for example, what the bookings report looks like, how much I can drill down from this perspective. One thing that is super cool on here is it's going to tell me who the sales rep is. And this is important, obviously. The better collaboration that vendors and distributor sales reps have, the more cases we typically see out the trucks, right? So if I'm a vendor and I'm logged in and I know Pioneer Pizza has booked some items, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm connecting with Hulk Hogan as well as the actual sales rep, which obviously would be a real name if this wasn't demo data, right? So just real quick snapshot there. Happy to cover more of this if we set up some time directly. I was dropping some pro tips along the way. The last one I want to drop for all of you is what we call a zero-sum investment for this software. And what I mean by that is we've been working strategically with distributors to help you outsource the cost of this platform to your vendors, right? Just the same way they pay electricity fees, there is no reason why vendors would not be willing to pay a technology fee. And we are seeing this more and more every day. If you're wondering why they're willing to pay a technology fee, it's right here. The bread's in the pudding, folks. We're going to give them the data right at their fingertips. Gone are the times of you manually pulling reports, sending to them post-show. Go ahead and bake these into your annual marketing plans. Add it as an additional fee. Help yourselves action both vendor and DSR collaboration, and let's sell more cases. So without further ado, folks, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and transition now into a Q&A, and I'm going to pass it off to our host, Justin, real quick, and we'll jump right into it. Thanks.
All right. Hello, everyone. Mike, thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge on the trade show platform. I hope everybody at least learned a couple of things about our offering of trade show here today. It looks like we did have a couple of questions come through. So we're going to run through those real quick. I do want to encourage everybody to please submit any other questions as well that may have come up during today's webinar. So Mike, the first question that we have is, can I track which of my team members or booths are generating the most engagement during a show?
Super, super solid question, Justin. And whoever put that in the chat, sorry, I can't see your name there. But the short answer of it is absolutely. And this is going to live primarily in the reporting module within the trade show platform. But one of the most critical reports I like to leverage and suggest folks leverage is the booth activity report. That's going to give you a high level information at the vendor booth view of samples, bookings, notes, likes, views. You're going to see a count of all of that activity, which you can then click into and drill down even further. So really, really a great report, a good way to visualize and action what's happening in real time at the show. And of course, you'll be able to see who's getting the most engagement with the click of a button. It's a really awesome platform. And I guess another pro tip, fun way to create incentives and awards throughout the show for your vendors, right? For example, we've heard folks of, hey, whoever gets the most check-ins gets a cooler, right? So just a really cool way to make sure that everyone's utilizing the platform and you're capturing the most value out of the software. Good question.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's a great call out, just to make the shows a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting, and just drive engagement with those booths. I do want to call out real quick before we get to our next question. I have transitioned my screen, so if anybody wants to book a discovery session to learn more about how trade show can line up with their exact business, go ahead and scan that QR code. We will be sending this recording out as well, so don't feel like you got to race to scan that QR code right now. We'll send out this recording. You can just skip to the end and pause and get that nice big QR code up on your screen. But on to our next question, Mike. How does Meal Ticket manage multi-outlet or chain accounts? And I think they're talking about the operators that may be coming to the show, but will have, 2 or 3 different locations, or maybe even more locations.
Yeah, no, really good question. We know this comes up a lot, whether you're calling on, national chain business or regional chain business. The beauty of the platform is within the tools module. I don't know if everyone caught it earlier, but there is a option to manage chains. And the way we really do that is through parent-child relationships. When we go through implementation and onboarding with you, we're going to make sure we have a good understanding of what those chain parent-child relationships look like. And that's going to help you, and I should say vendors and you, during the check-in process, as well as the discussions at the booths themselves. So for example, one of the big things I know that's come up a few times is, hey, we want a simple way to pre-book or book cases across all the outlets across this chain. And we even want to make sure we delineate which weeks that we're going to ship those cases. Don't worry, right in the platform, if it is a chain, it will be very clear to the vendor that there is a way to easily book cases across weeks and specific accounts and really get those cases spread out however you'd really like to see in an efficient process. So at the end of the day, we're going to help you make sure we navigate through those chain relationships, but also make sure that you're able to quickly book and review chain data after the show. It's a really good question.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. And I believe we could even take that a step further as well, and not only book those cases across those multi-location accounts, but we can also set up their delivery schedule as
That's
well.
right.
So it's not like each location is just getting their entire shipment all at once. We can very easily figure out a delivery cadence that works best for them directly in the app while they're making those bookings.
100%.
And our next question, it looks like we got two more here, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
So our next question is, how does Tradeshow work with your other software products? And in case anybody here doesn't know, Meal Ticket offers a wide variety of platforms serving really every aspect of the food distribution industry.
Yeah. No, really, really solid question. And that's really the onus of what we're trying to build here at Meal Ticket. And really, these products are interchangeable with each other. So when we think of trade show, the immediate and most direct one that comes to mind is our Impact CRM platform. And there's a few big call outs there and how these work together. I think I alluded earlier to how you can kind of shift back and forth between those interfaces. But at the end of the day, we know, as a tangible example, we know it's challenging at times to coordinate and capture all the right contacts and send those invitations out. Make sure you know who is, going to be attending the show from an RSVP perspective, and also who's checked in. It can be very complex, right? Especially if you're managing that's strategy and spreadsheets today. If you leverage our CRM platform, we're going to be able to capture all those contacts for you in real time throughout the year. And that way, when you get to the point of invitation and RSVP and check-in, there's really not much work to do other than validating you're inviting the right people that already live in the system, right? So really cool. You can also do different things like pull target lists in our Impact CRM platform directly from the trade show module, right? So an example of that might be, hey, we've identified all these folks that have liked or taken notes on these specific products, but they haven't placed an order. Let's build a target list in Impact CRM and run a digital campaign specific to those customers after the show, right? Let's make sure they're aware that we can do a lot more, and we want to actualize those cases at the end of the day, right, from a distributor perspective. So really cool stuff. A few other features that are valuable too, but those are kind of the two that come to mind today. Outside of that, one really cool thing is with our new TrackMax interface, any programs that were built in Tradeshow will automatically be loaded into the TrackMax interface. No more, gone are the days of you having to track accruals. It's all going to happen in real time, so you can build back those vendors quickly and concisely.
Thank you,
Good
Mike.
question.
Yeah, great answer. All right, the last one for today. How does Tradeshow actually help me capture and follow up with more leads more effectively than, say, what somebody could be doing right now?
Sure. And I love this one. This is a really good question, particularly for me coming from a sales mindset, right? And I mentioned earlier, I think how I've been at booths and sometimes you're having so many conversations, you walk out overwhelmed and say, hey, what do we really need to do as a next step here? One of the beautiful things about this platform is that it's going to be right in your face and give you actionable next steps coming right out of that show, right? So in the scenario that I lived in, I'd pull a report from a supplier perspective with my own login, end of the day of the show, and I'd share that with my sales team and say, hey, you need to go work with these distributor reps and work on closing these opportunities for all the products that were liked, just as an example, right? So when we talk about taking action directly out of the show, we want to make sure that you take away from this that we're going to give you valuable, tangible data to act upon and to move quickly, right? And I think that's the biggest thing because as we know, a week can change a lot, right? We want to make sure we're doing a good job at following up. So I love that part of the platform, and that's what it's all about, y'all, is building those relationships, hopefully executing better partnerships and getting more cases off the floor. So that's a big